Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm pretty excited about this particular video because we're going to get to something that I didn't do the last time I shot these videos, and I'm pretty excited to do it this time. And what I'm actually going to do is be adding a photo to every item that we put into our database so that you can actually see what you're looking at. So there's one thing I do want to talk about a little bit is the power of these migrations. Okay, really important, and I want to demonstrate the true power of this. Okay, so if I go into here and I say I want to do products, okay, I should get this error. Okay, and what's happening is I've got this this message that says unable to cast object to type system dot double to system dot single. Okay, and it gives me some information about where I've got this error. And so what I want to do is I want to go back and I'm going to go inside my code. I'm actually in my products model. Okay, and right here where I've got price. Okay, what I want to do is I want to change that to a double. Okay, I'm going to change that to a double, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that, and then I'm inside my my package manager console, and you could see that I've already been through this, so I know the example actually works because I just fixed it. So now, like we did before, when we build our database and we use these commands, which was update database, and we did the add migration and all that kind of stuff, because what we did in the past is we actually built those models, and then we were able to use scaffolding to create the controllers and the views. Okay, so now let's just say I want to add something to my database, to my tables, or I want to make a change inside my database tables. So I can go in and now make the change inside of my model. Okay, and when I update that model, it's going to update my controller and my view automatically for me. Okay, so the safest place to do this is actually inside your model, make the changes, and then I want to go into my package manager console and put the following commands in there. So if you remember from before, what we did is we said add dot migration. Okay, and I'm going to call this, I can give it whatever name I want. I'm going to say fix data type. Okay, that's all I'm going to call it, fix data type. Okay, and it's doing all its stuff in the back. And now all I need to do is an update database. So I update my database. Okay, and now when I go back to my actual website and I want to type in products. Okay, now I type in my products. It's actually going to be updated. It's going to fix that for me. Okay, so this is why it's so powerful. Okay, that we're doing that. So I think what I want to do today is actually the exciting part for me is adding in an actual photo. So when we type in, we create a new item like this. Okay, I'm going to call mine Thanksgiving. See, it's already in the IntelliSense. I actually didn't do this. Let's go with Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, dinner for vegans. Huh. Okay, I don't have a photo. I can't put a photo in there today, and I'm going to put that it's $25.99. Honestly, I don't know. Category Thanksgiving. So I create that. Notice I don't have a photo, and it's a required photo. And right now, all I'm doing is just putting in. I think it was set to a string. Okay, that's all I'm creating. Okay, and you can see it here, it updated. So it's Thanksgiving dinner for vegans. My photo is a string called photo. That's my price. Notice my price doesn't have any formatting. Okay, and then in the categories, I'm in my Thanksgiving category. Okay, so what I want to do is today I think I'm going to deal with the formatting of the numbers, and I'm going to show you where to do that in one and only one place so that it actually updates it automatically everywhere. We'll do the photo, and then let's see, what about editing? Is there anything in editing we want to do? No, I don't. Maybe details. I don't know if there's anything in my details that I want to fix, because the things that I'm proposing to fix are going to get updated in one spot. So let's just go in and give it a try. And I you know what, another thing I'd like to do is when I put my cursor over top of each of these rows, notice that it doesn't really show it to me. So I want to do some work in there. I also want to put all this stuff into alphabetical order. Okay, because I just don't think it looks good non-alphabetized. I'm gonna delete that, delete this. So it's just these little nitty-gritty formatting things. So if I do a create new, notice here when I drop this down, meat, dairy, fish, Thanksgiving, they are not in alphabetical order. Okay, so what I'm going to want to do is go in and actually change that alphabetical order stuff too. Okay, so I'll go in and I'll take care of the little small stuff, and then we're going to get into fixing that that photograph. Okay, so let's go back to the list. All right, so where do we have to start? So I've opened up my products controller and my products. Okay, and I'm just going to leave these two open for now. But right away, I'm going to my index, okay, inside my products controller. And what you'll see is that I'm using this list, okay, this list of products. And in here, this is the line that I want to use, this line 26. And there's a couple simple commands that we can use just to put that into an alphabetical order. Okay, and keep note that we're going to use something very similar for the drop-down list to alphabetize that as well. I don't know if alphabetize is an actual word, but I'm going for alphabetical order. So the way I want to do this is I'm going to use this an order by function, okay, and it ties in with the lambda expression, but there's no point in really getting into this into the real nitty gritty of how this whole lambda thing works. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a dot. I'll add that in there, and I'm going to type in order by, okay, and I'll select the first one, and this is an actual lambda function, or I guess some people call it a fat arrow. Okay, so this is going to be equals and then the greater than that creates the arrow, and I'm going to say p dot, and as you see, we can go with using the IntelliSense, pick what is an actual object or an actual selection for me, which is now product name. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and let's go to our site right now. Okay, and we're in products, and right now it's chicken, milk, Thanksgiving, and the thing is that's actually already in alphabetical order, but let's just refresh that. Okay, but the idea was that we were doing it by name. So if I want to create a new thing, I'm going to just say turkey. Turkey, yuck. I don't have a photo, so I'll just go with one, and I'm going to say too much, which is going to be 50 bucks. And of course, the category for this is meat, and I create this. Okay, so it actually went down in alphabetical order. Let's pick something that has turkey. Where do we? Let's go back to our list. I don't know, guys. Nutmeg. I don't even know if I'm spelling that right. Who cares? Spice, and I have no idea how it applies to dinner. And it's something else. I'm going to put it into Thanksgiving. Okay, so there it is. It came right in under the M. Okay, so just try to remember. I'm going to get rid of that because I'll leave it in there. So I'm going to get rid of that. Or I'm going to keep that, but just remember this line of code. That's how we do sorting by alphabetical order. Okay. So there is one thing, like we've already in the past updated this add a new product here. We've updated that. And where we did that was actually in our product index. Okay, so I've opened up that index. And in our H1, it's got add a new product here. Okay, so the one thing though that I don't like is when we actually look at the top in here, it says index Georgian computers. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just go in and actually change that. So in my title, I'm actually going to change that to products. Okay, because I'm looking at my tabs, that's what I want to see. Okay, so you can see it right there, but if I do a refresh on that, this should switch to products Georgian computers. Okay, but note that we changed that here, this title, which was in our H1 tag. Okay. The next thing I mentioned was that when I, hover my cursor over top of this, it doesn't really help. And I think as a guide, it's nice that when you put your cursor over something, there's a change in its appearance in some way. And I think that's kind of an important thing so that, you're fully, the user experience is a little better for understanding what line that they're actually pointing to. So I am going to go back into my view, my products view. And I think on line 13, what I want to do is just update the table class. And there's just a couple of bootstrap commands that I can put in there. And we're going to say table. And you can see that they pop up, right? But I'm going to table striped. Okay. And all that's going to do is actually put a line inside there. So I move over and I'm going to do this one. Table dot hover. Okay, and I'm putting that in. And so what that's going to do is when I actually save that and I go back and I do a refresh, you'll see that as my cursor goes over the line, it's now changing the color of the lines. But it also puts this gray background on every other line. So the user's not confused as to which row that they're actually in. Okay. So as I said before, we've got this price to deal with, right? So right now it's just a numerical value. You can't tell that it's currency. And I could technically go in here and update the price in anything that has to do with the HTML. Okay, but that would be entirely inefficient because then I'd have to go in and every time we reference a price or some sort of monetary value, we'd have to go into the HTML and update that all individually. So the better way of actually doing that is to go into our models. Let me close my migrations. I'll go into my models and I'm going to go into the products, which I've already got open here. Okay. And this is where I want to go in and actually do an update on my actual price. Okay, so one thing I can do is I can go in here and, this is basically the syntax for this. Now keep in mind, this is going to be based on a region. So if, for example, it identifies your location is identified as, say, England, this is going to read out in the pound. Okay, so because it identifies us where we are, it's going to actually do it as the dollar. Okay, so what we want to do in here is do a display, and you can see display format. Okay, and then this is actually a function call, and inside that we're going to do data format string, and that's going to equal, it is quotations, put them the two in there, and then the braces. Okay, and the syntax for this is 0:C. Okay, and then you just close it all off there. And I'm going to save that, and let's go in and have a quick look. Okay, so let's do a refresh. So this should update to dollars. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so one thing that some people do, and I'm going to show you how, but what some people like to do is actually put their currency sort of right justified more over here so that things lined up. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's your choice whether you want to keep that formatting or not. Okay, but before I do that, I actually want to go to, let's say, details. Okay, notice it's actually updated there. Edit. It's not updated in this box because I don't need it to be. I'm just looking for a numerical value. Do I want to do delete? Okay, there it is again. It's updated. The price is updated to be back in currency. Okay, so that was just one simple line of code here. This display format, and of course I did it inside my model. Okay, so that it sort of percolates throughout the entire rest of my project files. Okay, so we want to look at some right justifying. Okay, so to do that justification on the sort of right justified, and I guess the issue there is, like, if this was, say, a 4-digit number, you would want it to line up. So maybe your user wants to do some math in their head for whatever reason. They want to just add everything up. It's better that the decimals actually all line up. Okay, so the way we could do that is we go back into our view. Okay, and I'm going to go to price, and let's see, this is I think the column heading here. So if I've got price right here, I'm going to go to my line 25, and I'm going to do class equals. Okay, and the beauty is that all this stuff the IntelliSense picked it up. So text right is what I want, .r. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that. Okay, so now that I have that in my line 25, I can go down to price and drop the same line of code in there. Sorry, and I don't need this. Okay, and I'm going to hit a Control KD just to fix my formatting. And I'm going to save that, and let's go out and have a look. Okay, so let's do a refresh, and you should see this column moved over. Now, what's interesting here is I've got this greater than symbol, and that tells me I have thrown, and where was that? Where was that? It's actually in the lower part. Yeah, and here it is. Here's the culprit right there. I had this, that part of the tag left over. Okay, so Control KD, clean that up, and let's go back out and have a look, and that should disappear now. And there it disappeared. And you'll notice that it's all justified to the right column, or the right hand side of the column. Okay, the title is, as well as the digits in the decimal place. So I think one more thing I want to do, because I don't like having the name of what I want and my price so far away. So I think what I will do is actually move this price column over to be beside my name. And the way I'm going to do that, it's pretty simple, and I think you probably already figured out how to do it by now anyway. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to highlight my price. Okay, and I'm going to hit the Alt button and then just move it with my up arrow. Okay, so I'm going to go back down, and I'm going to find my price thing, my lines of code for price, not my price thing. And then I'm going to do the Alt key and press my up arrow, and I'm going to move it into that location there. Okay, so when I go back to the screen, hopefully I didn't put it in the wrong spot. Okay, so now I'm good. Okay, so I've got the name of it and the price, then the description, the category, and a photo. And one thing I want you to realize is right now, when we're looking at this is somebody who, let's say, works inside the store. They're populating all of these products and categories and stuff like that. This isn't the view that the customer is going to see. Okay, they're going to see a little bit of a different modified view. This is just what we, as, say, the administrators or employees in this company, are going to see. So when we get into registration and login and stuff, those things are going to change the whole dynamic of the interactivity of the website itself. Okay, so The next thing I want to do is I want to do some more customizations in here, okay? Because, for example, okay, the name is fine, description's fine, photo. We're going to talk about photo. We got to make some modifications to the photo, but I'm going to sort of save that towards the end. But the problem is right now I could, for example, put a negative number in there, okay? And as long as I've got something, that's fine. Okay, the other thing is I've got this, it says category and category ID. I'm going to show you how to take that ID out of there. Okay, and one of the things we're going to do is we you know, just like the last part of the video, we actually have to go into do some updating on our models and our controller and stuff like that. Okay, so why don't we get into that and see where it takes us. But eventually the goal is to, by the end of the video, we're going to be able to upload a video and have upload a photo and have it display to our screen. But just so you know, this is the screen where you would actually do the uploading of your photo, and then you'll be able to see it in one of the different views. Okay. I'm going to start this in the view. Okay. So we're going to deal with the UI first. So we're going to go to products and then create. Okay, which is this page right here. So this is where I want to start. First thing I am going to do is I'm going to update this here, and I'm going to change that to add product. Okay, that's what I'm going to have in there. And in this one here, I guess I'll go with the same. Okay, add. So I'll do add product, add products. Whatever. And I don't need this one here. I just, it's kind of a useless line. So I'll save that. And what else do I want to do? I think what I'm going to do before I go continue on is I will just check that out, and I'll make sure that it actually updated. If you're doing this right now and you're connected to your Azure, it will take a little bit slower. But okay, so what we got what we wanted, which was add product and then add products. Okay, and right now what I want to do is I want to deal with this issue right here, this category ID. Okay, so when I go into here, the place that I actually can go in and deal with that is actually in my model. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's so intuitive that it's in there, but if I open up my model, what you're going to see is the product ID. What do we say? Yeah, right here, category ID. Okay, so it's right here, category ID. It seems like it makes sense to be in here inside my actual view and try to just go in and change it here somewhere in this spot. But the problem is that's a reference to our actual you know, different lines of code in different files. So we don't want to do that. So where I'm actually going to go is in here in my, it's actually going to happen in my model. Okay, because just keep in mind something, that this is just it's just a display. We're just displaying a different name. So the way I'm going to do that is actually I want to just go above my category. Okay, and I'm going to put in the square brackets here, and it's just simply going to be display. And it's a function actually. So we're going to say name equals, and it's going to be in quotations, category. That's it. Okay. And that's what's we're still going to have the reference to category ID, but we're just going to change the label over top of it. So I'm going to save that. Okay, let's just see how it looks. Okay, it was category ID. Now you can see the ID actually disappeared. I want to show you this other really good thing. Category ID is gone. It's now switched to category. But if I go back to one of these, you'll notice, let's say I edit. No, okay, so category ID here is now updated as well. Okay, we were in create a product before, but now we're in edit, and that updated. So if I go to, let's say, details, category is updated, and delete, category is updated. Okay, so that's another really good thing. So one thing I do have to do is I have to make sure that when somebody puts in a name, it actually makes it validated. Okay, so you can't try to input something and leave that blank. Okay, and then the other thing is we want to make sure that they actually put a value greater than 0 in there. Okay, so we have to actually update that currency as well. So what that means is you actually have to go through and create something. Okay, and then you're not going to be able to put in negative values in here. Okay, so let's go take a look at how we do that. And for that, we definitely have to go into our model again. Okay, so obviously the easiest thing to do that to make something where the user must fill it in is just to put required right above it. Okay, so the name is now required, so that takes care of that issue. Now let's go deal with the greater than 0, or you can't basically have a negative value. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to our price, and we're just going to do another annotation in here, and this one is going to be called range. Okay, and it's a function call or method call, and it does exactly that. So we're going to go with 0.01. That's the minimum, and the maximum, let's just go with lots and lots of money. Okay, and that's it. That's all we need to do for that. So let's go test that out. Not going to put anything in there, and I'm going to try to go with -25 and create. So the field price must be between 0 and, okay, so that tells me 26.33. Okay, what about a create here? Name field must happen, and my description must happen, and a photo is required. Okay, and that's what this keyword is. So when you're getting these errors, it's because you've told it that's a required field that the user must input. Okay, so the great thing is it did pick up my validation range in here as well. So another thing that I want to do, and we've done something similar, is if you look at the categories, notice these are definitely not in alphabetical order. Okay, so what I want to do, and notice that we're in the products create, so products controller create method. So let's go over to our Visual Studio. We're in our products, that's the model. I want to be in products controller. Okay, and one thing I can do is I can actually, there's a way over here that I can do a search for the actual methods that I want. Okay, and it's right here. I can click this little message that's over here, and I can say, okay, take me to my create method. So it took me right down to the create method that I wanted, which was on line 49. Okay, so let's go just sort of deal with that alphabetical order thing. And it's almost identical to the last way we did an alphabetical order for the other list that we manipulated. So the way that we want to do this is we're just going to modify this line right here, and it's going to be period order by. Okay, you can see it. Okay, and this is again a lambda function. So we'll go C for categories. Okay, and then the fat arrow. Okay, C, and then you can see it looks for name in the IntelliSense. Okay, and that's all I have to do. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to actually build this because it's been a while since I've done a good solid build on this. Okay, and what's happening when I do that build is it does update my DLL. So sometimes there is a little bit of a delay in this. Okay, so if I do a refresh on this, now you'll see in that this list here should be in alphabetical order, and in fact it is. So dairy, fish, meat, and Thanksgiving. Okay. So there's one really important thing that I want to do, and I've already done this once at the very, very beginning of this video. And so it's really important that once we update a model, is that we actually use the migrations tool to update the database. So I've got my SQL Server Management Studio open. And what you can see here is I've got in my products, in my under name, I'm actually saying allow for nulls. Okay, but what I just did is I went in and I said, hey, make it mandatory that the user input a name. So there's actually a conflict between the two of them. So what I have to do is make sure that my models, when I update them in Visual Studio, have to be remigrated over or updated. I have to update my database over here. Okay, so right now my name has nulls are allowed. So what I want to do is make sure that I go in to my package manager. Oops, I didn't want to release that. I just wanted to expand it a little more. Okay, just like this. And I need to actually go and update this through my manager console. Okay, so what I'm going to call in this one, and it is a add migration. Okay, and the name I'm going to give this is going to be add products validation. Okay, so I want to validate my products. So I'll hit the enter. Great. And then it's easy line again. It's just update database. But you must spell it properly. Okay. Ah, look at that. What did I miss? Sorry, what I missed is the actual hyphen in between the two. Okay, so it's not just update and then you're off to the races. You actually have to add the little dash in between. Okay, so here we are. We're updated. Let's go back to our database and do an update on that. Now you can see right here, it actually has it in there and it's saying name is not null. Okay, so I have successfully updated my database from Visual Studio by using those simple migration and updating commands. Okay, it's pretty phenomenally powerful if you ask me. So when you're working on your own projects, think about the way we've actually done this, the steps that we've actually done this, because this is probably the most efficient in terms of promulgating your code all throughout your entire project. Okay. Okay. So what I want to do now at this point is really tackle this photo issue here. Okay. This piece, this is what I really want to get into. This is what I've been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks to get into. It's only because I didn't do it last time I taught the class. So anyway, let's get into this. Okay. So the place that we have to do this is our product create. Okay, so we have to go into our Visual Studio, and I'm actually in the create view, but notice, don't forget, this is a form that we created. Okay, so originally this was a form, and what I want to do is just do an update to the actual form, because we have to be able to tell it that, hey, this form is actually going to be in multi-parts. So what this is ENC, okay, ENC type, okay, and we're gonna say multi-form data, okay, and we have to do that to prepare the rest of it. So I've scrolled down a little bit, and I'm looking for photo, okay, and here you see the label and the input. So I need to update my line 27. And the way the line 27 is going to be is my input name. I got to change this to name equals photo. And then ID equals photo. Okay. And then type is actually going to equal a, let me give it some space here. Okay. So type is actually going to equal file and our class form control. Okay, so the rest of this looks fine to me. I'll just move that over a little bit, and I'm going to do a control KD just to clean up all my formatting, and it looks like I missed possibly some quotations, and I did. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I will go back out, and what should happen is our photo should stop being a text box and actually be converted now into an upload button. Okay, so if I refresh that, I've got an error. That's okay. There it is. It wasn't quite an error. It was just taking that moment to update. Okay, so now I've got my choose a file. Okay, so we've achieved so far exactly what we wanted. So we haven't done it yet, but what we have to do is go to this www root. Okay, and we actually have to add a new folder, and we're going to call this img for image. Okay, and so it's going to go to this part, and I'm going to go click on my image and then add a folder there, and I'm going to call this one product uploads. Okay, that's what I'm going to call this one, product uploads. Okay, done. I actually should rename that and just put a little under, or a dash, whatever. No, I don't like that. I want it to be there. I just want to change that because I don't think you should have spaces in between. It's just kind of bad practice. So now we want to go back into our products controller, and we were in the create, and we did the work here with the sorting. We did that in our get. Okay, but now what we want is our post. Okay, this is where we want to go in and do some updating for that photo. So what happens it's in this method here that we actually add the product and then we save it. Okay, so right in this area here is where we actually want to put some code so that we can add the actual photograph. Okay, so one thing we have to do, okay, if we go back to our create, we know that our we've got this photo here. Okay, and in our controller, you see these binds, this function call here, or method call the bind. Okay, and these parameters inside this function, they all match exactly what you're seeing in this create. So we have to go back, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that out. I'm actually going to do a Control X, get rid of the comma. Okay, and then I'm going to go out to the out to this part. I'm just going to go beyond, so product, and I'm going to add a comma, and this is going to be iForm. Did it? No, it didn't look get it for me yet. Form, and I'm looking for iForm file. Okay, and that one is going to be photo. Okay, so that's what I had to go and make an update. It's still binding in here. It's still part of this whole line of code, but we just have to do it in a different way because, you know, we're trying to upload something from a different sort of direction. Okay. So the next thing is I've got this is valid. Okay, so this is valid line here. So we've done all the validation and stuff like that. But before we go ahead and do the add product and save changes and all that stuff, we want to check to see if there is a photo and then do the upload with it. Okay, so this has to be put into an if statement. So it's going to be if, okay, photo. Okay, so if photo dot length, okay, is actually greater than 0, then what's going to happen is this. Okay, we are going to actually, I'll put the note, get a temp location of the upload file. Okay, and just bear with me for a minute because you're gonna, if you don't know what a GUID is, then you're gonna have to just kind of pay attention for a minute. location tion of the upload file. And we're going to create this variable temporary file. So we're going to say var, and we'll say temp file equals path dot get, oh, it's capital G, get temp file name. Okay. And we're going to implement this thing called a GUID. Okay. And it's a globally unique identifier. Okay. And the reason we're doing this is because it's entirely possible that different administrators or different people will upload a file name and give it the exact same name. So if two different people upload the same exact file, it's going to throw an error. So we're going to use this GUID number, or this globally unique identifying number, to the actual name. And this is going to be auto-generated, this number, and then attached to the actual name of the photo. So that's how we're going to be able to get around the idea of two people inputting the same name on a file. Okay, so one of the issues here, it looks like I don't have the path to this. Okay, so if we go up here and we look at what's going on here, let's come back down to here, show potential fix, and we just want this system IO. Okay, using system IO. So I'll do that, and then that error goes away. So if we go back up to the top, here it is, using system IO. Okay, and IO is input output. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I was right in here. So I put in a note here. It says create a unique name using the globally unique ID, so the GUID class. And so what that means is, let's say somebody wanted to type in tom.png. Okay, what the GUID does is it will change that to be something like ABC123 tom.png. So it'll create that. And then the next time somebody else tries to upload Tom, it's going to be XYZ 789 tom.png. So there's never going to be this confusion within the system. Okay, so let me take that out. And the way I'm going to do that is it's going to be var file name. What did we have it before? Yeah, var file name. That's new. Is going to be this GUID. The GUID right there. Okay, and it's going to be dot new GUID. Okay, and it's a method call. And we're just going to say plus, and then quotations, and we'll put a little, I don't know what the hell that character is called anymore, a hyphen, dash, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and plus photo dot file name. Okay, and that's what we need. Let's go ahead and save that. So the next thing that we really have to do is this. We have to set the destination, the path, and the file name. Okay, but we have to do this dynamically, because the issue is, even though I'm trying to set this path, if you can see root, image, product, uploads, what happens when I deploy this to Azure, or I deploy this to a different server? Okay, they're not going to have access to my specific hard drive. So I need to have this done dynamically. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say var upload path. Okay, and that's going to be equal to system and dot io dot directory dot get current directory. Okay, and that is a method. And then we'll do plus. And now we're going to get into, I don't know where the 6 came from. I have no idea. Just fat finger syndrome. So what I'm going to do is I have to path that, right? So I've got this, I've got www root. Okay, then I have, again, image img. Okay, so what I've got is this and then this. Okay, and then I'm going to do product that underscore upload. Okay, and I'll finish that off with that and get outside my quotes, and then I'm going to say plus file name, and there. Now, if you're asking yourself, why did I put double slashes? It's because one slash is an escape character. Okay, and you can see it, unrecognized escape sequence. Okay, so that's why when you're doing these paths, you have to have two. Okay, so let's go and see what else, because we have just a little bit more to do in here. Okay, and what I want to do is we're going to use a stream, S-T-R-E-A, stream to create the new file. Okay, and we're going to do this using var stream is going to be equal to new file, and let's see if it gives it to us. File stream, there it is. And there's two parameters here, and it's going to be upload path, okay, which is what we have there on line 76. And then we're going to do a comma, so it'll be file mode, and there it is, file mode right down there, and it'll be dot create. Okay, and I'm missing a semicolon right there at the end. Okay, let me go ahead and save that, and I'm actually going to run a build. And I guess I was a little premature because I forgot a line, and we're going to do await photo. Okay, there it is. Photo dot copy to async. And this will be inside the method call will be stream. Okay, so we got this step here to do. Add a unique file name as the photo property of the new object. Okay, so when we go to into our create here, this is what we have to account for. Okay, so let's go, and this is going to just be product dot photo. Okay, and there it is. And I was just making sure, and that is going to be, sorry, hang on, I lost my cursor, equal to file name. Is it? It's lowercase. File name. Again. Now, consider this. All of these steps here are happening before we do the add product. Okay, so this if statement, all of these steps have to happen first. Okay. So I think I'm ready to try this out. Okay, and I'm also going to do a build. Okay, and I'll go out there and let's do a refresh. This may take a second or two. Okay, so I do have some preloaded pictures. I just can't remember what they are. I'm going to call this one vegan turkey. Dinner for Thanksgiving. Dinner for vegans. And price, we're going to say that it is, let's go with 30 bucks. 31, 21. I don't know. I'm just putting it in there. It is sort of meat. I should make a category called non-meat or vegan meat. Okay, now choose the file. Okay, it took me a minute to find my actual images. So there they are. I'll upload that and I'll do a create. The photo field is required. So I got this error. Okay, and the message is the photo field is required. So what that's telling me is that, hey, I've got a required thing, but it's actually not, it's actually preventing me from continuing it any further. So what I'm going to go do is back into my products, and I'm going to go to photo, and you see I've got this required right here. I'm going to actually take that out. Okay, and I'm going to do a build. Okay, I'm going to go back, and I'm actually, oh, confirm form resubmission, cancel. I'm going to do a refresh and I'll continue. And I'm getting this error, right? So what's interesting here is that it's actually showing me the GUID and everything. So I have an error somewhere in here. Okay, maybe. Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay, I'm going to go back to list. I'm going to do a create. And I'm going to say, what did I call this? Thanksgiving dinner. No, I called this vegan turkey. Dinner for vegans. And this and this, and change it to meat. Now I'm going to create, and I'm getting this error here, and it's telling me I've got an issue in my controller with this particular method call. Okay, there's a little plus sign there, and if I open that up, it gives me a hint as to where my error actually is. So let's go in there and see what we can find. Okay, so this is what I believe the problem right now to be. I've got this called product uploads, but I called it product upload with no S, something that simple. But what I want to point out is that it kind of pointed me in the right direction. Okay, so let's go in there. I've updated I added the S, and I'm going to save that. I'm actually going to do a build. Okay, and now I'm going to go back out, and I'm going to hit the back button. Okay, and let's try this one more time. Create. Now, I have another error, and I suppose it's because I haven't actually done a migration to my database. Okay, so let's go back in, and we're going to do, we're going to go to here. Sorry, my window somehow became detached. So I'm going to go up into my tools, NuGet package, console, and I'm going to do okay, add product validation. How about I call this one add photo uploads. And one of the things that changed actually was the fact that I took out that required field. Okay, so let's give this a try. Add migration, add photo uploads. So the next thing from there is now I just need to do an update database. Okay. And let's see what happens. Okay. And I just want to confirm this. Let me read this. String or binary data would be truncated. Okay, so I think I'm on the right track here. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to try this one more time. And look at this. Perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay, I've got vegan turkey, 3121. Dinner for vegans. And you can see this beautiful number right here. This is my GUID. Okay, this is the file name, but this is my GUID that I was talking about earlier. Okay, much more complicated than my ABC123. So what we have to do next is take that and actually convert this into an actual image that's displayed out to our screen. So let's do that now. And one thing I do want to show you is if you look in my actual products photo or product uploads, notice here, okay, I've got the same image 2 different times, very different GUIDs. Okay, I'm not sure why I put it in there. I think it was attempting to do it, and with all the refreshing and all that kind of stuff, that's probably why it's in there. Not a big deal for now. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that it was actually in there. So the place that I'm going to actually convert that into an image is going to be in my index. Okay, so if you look at this, my products index, and I'm going to go to my tagline for photo. And what I want to do is actually do if my item dot photo, and of course that's a capital, okay, because we're trying to match this, so is not equal to a null. It's really hard to do this when I'm trying to look around a microphone, honestly. So if, I don't know where this came from, but item photo is not null, then we're going to do, okay, I'm struggling here with my formatting. So let me tab this over here. It's going to be img and src equals. And you can see that it's taking us right to where the image is located. Okay. And notice it puts this tilde in here as well. Okay, so we still have to do a little bit of an update, and that's going to be product dash upload with an S. Okay, and I'm mapping to this file, which is great. You can see it pop up there. And then it's going to be at item dot photo, and that's the end of the quotation. And I don't know why that thing keeps that's kind of nasty that it does that. They should know better. Okay, and what else do I want to do? So outside of my quotation, I'm going to say alt equals product image. Okay, and then just close out that tag. Okay, so I'm getting this little error. The name item does not exist in the current context. Let me look at that for a second. Okay, I don't know if the rest of you guys noticed, but the reason it doesn't is because I put it in the absolute wrong place. Okay, so I'm going to do a copy. Actually, I'm going to do a Control X. This is actually where I should have been putting all this stuff. Okay, right into here. Okay, and I put it in the wrong spot. So now I go back up to here and I'm going to fix this. So I'll take that, take this one here, take this here, copy, drop that in here, and I'm going to change this to photo. Okay, and I'm going to save that and hope that I didn't break anything. But just so you understand, I'm taking the image that I had with the GUID and all that stuff, and I'm just converting it over to an actual photograph on our screen. Let's go now to our site and test this out. Okay. See what happens. There it is. Okay, we've got our image on there, and notice I don't have any images up here, but I do definitely think that that image is far too big. So I want to do some formatting to clean that up. So that is clearly just too big. So let's see, why don't we add a class to this? We're going to call this class equals thumbnail. Actually, it'll be class equals img thumbnail. Okay, and that's a bootstrap thing. So let's go and update that, see how that looks. I don't know that it's going to make a huge difference. Okay, so that didn't make much difference at all. Okay, so why don't we go over to our CSS, and I'm going to go to CSS site, click that on, and I'm going to go down the bottom. And the way I'm going to update that, it's just going to be .img hyphen, does it give it to me? No. Thumbnail. And okay, and I'm just going to set the width to about 75px. Okay, I'll set that, and then let's give that a look. Hopefully that's going to do the trick. Okay, just give it a second to update or refresh. Okay, one issue that I'm having is that when I do update that, it doesn't seem to actually do anything. And that tells me that quite possibly my CSS is being cached. So I'll put that back to 75. Okay, and what I'll do is see if I can do this in a private window somehow. Open link in incognito window. And we'll do products. Okay, so that's much smaller. So that's what I wanted, but that's still way too small. So I'll go back to my 75. Okay, and save and go back, and let's do a refresh. So that's a little bit bigger there. Okay, so that I can live with. I could almost even live with maybe 100. Okay, and let's go back to this there. Okay, I can live with that. All right, and if you notice when we go to edit, I've got the GUID. Okay, maybe we need to change that. Probably the same thing is going to happen with details as well. Okay, so we're in this position now, and I want to just kind of highlight one more thing. If I look at the edit, I've got the photo in here, right, and all of this stuff here. But what I'm not going to do, and maybe you can do it for yourself the next time, it's basically the same sort of process as what we went through in this photo. And the reason I want to show that is because this photo, if you want to edit that, that actually means you have to, maybe you want to update that photo. Okay, or just leave it alone as it is. So right now, what I don't want to do is, I'm not going to take the time and go through that. You can kind of on your own go through that again. But what I will do is I'll go over to details. Now, when I click on details, I'm getting the image. And the reason I'm getting this image is because I went to my details CSHTML. So I went to my details view, which is right here. Okay, and I went down to line 31, it looks like. Okay, so I've got my kind of my label or display of what that is. So when I look at this, that's what this is showing me. But the next line down, what I've done is I've basically typed this image src. Now, it may be difficult for you to see it on your screen, and let me see if I can zoom in to say 200. Okay, because I want to make sure you understand what that syntax is. So it is the quotation at bracket, and then this is the basically the same exact string right up to here. That is our file path. So that is our root, www root, then image, then product. Okay, and then that's the end quote. So this quotation matches this one here. But then we go to plus model dot photo. Okay, and then there's a bracket and another quotation. Then we want to go over to this ASP append version. Okay, and we're going to set that to true. And for mine, I've set this width to 250 and the height to 250. And then don't forget your closing tag. And then there's another quotation. Okay, so if I want to, let's say, take this entire line. Okay, I'll go back to my my view here, and now let's say I want to delete. You see what I'm getting here with the delete? I'm getting the GUID with the file name. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my products, delete into my CSHTML. Okay, and let me zoom out there a little bit so you can see the whole screen. Okay, so I've got my whole product CSHTML for delete. Sorry, and here's photo. Okay, here's my photo right here. And what I can do, I've got the label for it. So when we look at delete, I've got this photo, that's the first part. And then the second line is this right here. This is what I want to copy in there. It's the same exact thing. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, save that. And I'm going to do a refresh. Okay, so that visually tells me I'm deleting the exact same thing. And so for all of you carnivores out there, I am going to be kind and actually go in and delete that just for you. So if I were you, I would go through the steps that we went through to update your, where is it? Your controller. Okay. Do the steps that we've gone through in your editing. Okay, so have a look and see where that all fits in. Okay, so if your photo length is greater than 0, you've got a bunch of work to do, and then it populates, right? So write down below in your edit. Okay, and don't forget you're in your post for this. Okay, so back here when we did all this validation, don't forget that we were in our create and we were in our post. Okay. So if I were you, I would go in, play around with that and maybe do some updating on that. And then, cause you know, here it is, you've got your bind, your photo. Okay. You can do all that stuff in here, but the other views that we've got in here, which is, let's create a new item. Let's go with vegan pumpkin pie. Okay. Okay. Thanksgiving dinner for vegans, vegan pumpkin pie. I'm gonna say that was $10.99. And Thanksgiving create, and look at this, the ridiculous size of that, right? Okay, that's just way too big, and it screwed up my formatting too. Okay, so now I can't even scroll down. Let me open that up. See, that's a ridiculous size. So what I do know is that that thumbnail was actually pretty helpful for what I had there. Okay, so if I go to my index view again, and I'll just do this stuff here. Okay. Go back, refresh that. And there it is. It's a thumbnail. Much better. And if we look at my details, it's a larger size. And if we look at delete, again, it's a large enough size. Okay. So I think I'm going to knock it off there. And I think that's enough to try to help you out with your project going forward. Next week, I think what I'm going to try and do is show you how to connect into your Azure with all this. That'll be the last part really before the big push. I want you to deploy this to Azure if possible, or some other server. Anyway, for now, I think you're good for another round of videos. And thanks for watching. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.